Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Derry Bennett, Heat, Michael Hassler. How's it going, everybody? Sorry about that, folks. Today is going to be a pretty short stream. Howdy. I don't know what the heck I did this weekend, but when I was working outside, I believe I must have done some kind of bad movement and really hurt my back. So it's been quite uncomfortable. So what I'm gonna do is essentially speed run through all the information we have. Bummer. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Whew, that hurt. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened. But in any case, not good, not great. It doesn't feel good at all. It doesn't feel good at all. My condolences, sir. Thank you. But seriously, sucks. Indeed. It does. It's not, it has not been fun. Essentially, like, I had to stop working in the weekend. Yesterday I could not do anything. Alright, folks, we're getting ready to start. If you guys want to support the channel, there are many different ways you can. You can subscribe, send biddies. You can like the stream on YouTube. I see you. You can check out the merch store by typing !merch. Join the Discord, folks. We had another successful movie night. No hiccups. We had a successful movie night. If you guys want to join Discord, we do movie nights on the last Saturday of the month. So next time, the next movie night will be Saturday, May 25th. That's right, May 25th. All right, folks, let's get started. Should probably start here. This Saturday, I may play Star Wars. That's right. That's right. Surprise movie night. If it does happen, I'm sure you'll shoot a flare. Doing that, everyone. Stay tuned. All right.
After a 3-day review, the Holy Bible is available again to students at Volusia County Schools. Christina Quinn challenged the book on Friday for having what she says is sexually explicit content.
I wouldn't say it's just to prove a point. It is just saying basically what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
True.
So we can't pick some and not pick others when they both have similar material.
Don't you just hate it when you're forced to face the consequences of your own actions? I know that Ron DeSantis does, because the Florida governor just signed a bill amending his own book ban law after certain books that he didn't want challenged were challenged and subsequently banned. Now, the local news report that you just saw gave you one example of how this law blew up in his face, but it barely scratched the surface because the Bible was actually challenged in multiple districts in Florida, and we're now learning that those challenges are specifically why he chose to ultimately amend his...
Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, huh? Oh, man. Fantastic.
his own law. But before it even came to this, he tried to pretend as if book bans in Florida wasn't actually happening. It wasn't a thing, according to him. He called it a hoax, and we talked about it at the time. But back in February, his office put out this press release supposedly debunking the book ban hoax while acknowledging that his book ban was real and kind of a problem. It read, "Florida does not ban books. Instead, the state has empowered parents to object to obscene material."
Man, like, all right, let me stop you right there. Bro, this is a whole paragraph just to say that you want to ban certain books. Banning books is bad, okay?
In the classroom. In other words, we call that book bans,
Right.
my friends. It continues, "Still, some have abused this process to object to items including books about Johnny Appleseed, the Giver, and even the Bible. Governor DeSantis is calling on the legislature to fine-tune this process to prevent people from taking advantage of Florida law that is designed solely to remove inappropriate material from the classroom."
My brother in Christ, you signed the bill, dude. What did you expect was going to happen? You signed the bill, dude.
Room. So Florida doesn't ban books. They just let conservative parents challenge material that may ultimately result in their subsequent removal from school libraries. But they
Right, but it's not a ban. Not a ban at all. Johnny Appleseed, pretty racy stuff.
don't ban books. Definitely not a thing. It's a hoax to say that they ban books. Also, we should amend this law because too many books are being banned even though there's no book ban. But we don't ban books.
Right.
Sure. Now, this is a case of him kind of being a victim of his own success because the law is working as intended. The problem, however, is he can't specify which books he wants banned.
Right, because that would be unconstitutional. He can't, like, Ron DeSantis can't just come out and say, like, yeah, I just want to ban all the LGBTQ material. He can't do that. That's why it was intentionally vague.
Which namely include LGBTQ plus books and books about racial and ethnic minorities, because that's obviously unconstitutional. So
Right.
he was forced to make this law as broad and vaguely worded as possible so that way it can survive judicial scrutiny. But I mean, once you open that door, you open the door to everyone, not just conservative parents, not just fascists. And as a result, the Bible became a target, and for good reason, because there's some passages in there that are pretty inappropriate for kids. For example, Deuteronomy 25:11-12 reads, "If two men, a man and his countryman, are struggling together, and the wife of one comes near to deliver her husband from the hand of the one who is striking him, and puts out her hand and seizes his genitals, then you shall cut off her you shall cut off her hand. You shall not show pity." Okay, you chop that fucking hand off if she grabs your balls. Proverbs 5:10, "A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breasts satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love." Ezekiel 16:17 says, "You also took the fine jewelry I gave you, the jewelry made of my gold and silver, and you made for yourself male idols and engaged in prostitution with them." I don't know, sounds pretty sussy to me. So, I mean, there's talk of masturbation, titties, ball grabbing, and we didn't even get into the promotion of violence, where God literally murders everyone on the planet with the exception of Noah and his family because he thinks that they're being bad. So murder is the solution to bad behavior according to this book. Like, that's something that it teaches, right? Now, maybe you're fine with your children reading this kind of content, but some parents wouldn't be okay with it, which is why school districts were forced to take these challenges to the Bible seriously, because this is the exact kind of inappropriate material that this book ban law was meant to challenge.
Correct. Yeah, that is exactly the appropriate response, Michael Hassler. Whew.
They just don't like that the Bible is being challenged, and I don't think they anticipated that it would be challenged. Now, DeSantis tried to play it cool back in February and implied that the more banal books like, the Thesaurus and Johnny Appleseed really is what influenced his decision to amend his own book ban law. But his office basically just admitted that the real motivator here for this is the Bible. So Brendan Farrington of the Associated Press reports, the Associated Press asked DeSantis' office for
Welcome to Simulacra. Most of the hot stuff is in the Song of Solomon. Yeah, I would, I'll be honest, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Examples of liberal activists abusing the law, and it provided one. Chaz Stevens,
It's literally, you wrote the law, dude. You signed it.
South Florida resident who has often lampooned government. Stevens raised challenges in dozens of school districts over the Bible, dictionaries, and thesauruses. The change to the law ensures that book challenges are limited for individuals like Chaz who do not have children with access to the school district's materials, DeSantis spokesman.
Takes notes, exactly.
Woman Julia Friedland said in an email. She didn't reply to follow-up emails requesting more examples. Stevens, who 11 years ago made national news when he installed a Festivus pole made out of beer cans across from a nativity scene displayed in the Capitol, was delighted DeSantis' office singled him out. Quote, when they need to make stupid stupider, they send me up. I'm part comedian, I'm part activist, I'm part artist. I just want a better society, Stevens said. I'm an idiot, but a smart guy at the same time. DeSantis said activist efforts had made a mockery of the original law. Quote, the idea that someone can use the parents' rights and the curriculum transparency to start objecting to every single book to try to make...
Bro, it is literally a product of the law you signed, okay? You signed this into law, man. Your hatred and bigotry led you down this path, my dude. You have no one to blame but yourself. It's too bad that Florida's so beautiful. DeSantis is just an idiot. Yep.
Make a mockery of this is just wrong, he said the day before the bill signing. That's performative. That's political. So he's basically admitting that the activists who used his own law against him are responsible for his decision to scale it back. That's what I call brilliant activism. That's what I call you played yourself, right? They used the law that you approved of to their advantage. That's just how politics works, right? But unfortunately for Ron DeSantis, this update isn't necessarily going to stop the Bible from being banned, because all it does is limit the scope of who's able to challenge books from everyone to parents. But I mean, if a parent with a kid at a particular school district still wants to challenge the Bible, they're able to do that. But now they're just limited to challenging one book per month. So it's still entirely possible that the Bible gets banned once again.
Nice.
So the only real solution here is to just get rid of the law entirely so everyone's happy. Now, even though DeSantis and his office is blaming one activist for abusing his own book ban law, that's actually not true. The article cites PEN America, which is an organization fighting book ban.
That's so true, the simulacra. That's so true. That's political. It's a strange complaint coming from a politician. True. Lots of parents aren't for banning books. Correct. But, in Florida, well.
And they contend that Florida is actually responsible for 72% of the books around the country being banned.
Good job, Florida.
So of the 4,349 books that were banned, 3,135 of them are from Florida.
Jesus.
Now, even though religious and conservative books are swept up in that oftentimes, it's not representative of most books that are being banned. They say, quote, the majority of books that we see being removed are books that talk about LGBTQ plus identities, that include characters of color, that talk about race and racism, that include depictions of sexual experiences in the most broadest interpretation of that understanding, said Casey Meehan, PEN America's Freedom to Read program director. In other words, the law is generally producing the result that DeSantis wanted, but because a couple of Bible bans here and there slipped through the cracks, that was reason enough for him to amend the entire law, which is hilarious. But it's not the first time that this has happened, because one of my favorite stories of last year involved a GOP lawmaker in Utah named Ken Ivory, who called for his own book ban law to be revised after, guess what book was banned?
The Bible.
The Bible. And much like DeSantis, he also claimed that it wasn't really his fault because the law was good, but...
Listen, it's not my fault that I thought that people were going to target the Bible, okay? We just wanted to target the LGBTQ plus community. I don't remember the number, but it's something like 8 people are responsible for like 70% of book banning requests. Yeah, it's some absurd, statistic like that. Yeah.
But it was...
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I think the last. Oh, here it is. Well, according to the Google search, 11 adults are responsible for 60% of requests of book bans from 2021 to 2022. So yeah, it's like literally just like a handful of people. Yeah. Exactly.
Is the fault of activists who made a mockery of his law. But listen to how he defends the inclusion of the Bible in schools, despite it containing insensitive materials that his law was supposedly meant to combat.
Yes, the Bible is best taught at home. That does not mean that the Bible should be, could be, must be removed from schools.
You approved of these laws, my dude. No, it wasn't. You weren't that far off at all. Yeah, it's absurd. Like 11 people are responsible for over 60% is what it says here.
That's a leap of logic that some have inappropriately made.
In other words, sure, the Bible contains some porn, a little bit of bestiality, some menage a trois, onanism, but it shouldn't be banned because it's a book that I like. Other books that supposedly contain porn, however, those should be banned because I don't like those books. Understand how it works? Books that I like shouldn't be banned. Books that you like, well, maybe we should ban those. But you don't get to pick and choose what porn is acceptable in schools. Either all of it's okay or none of it's okay. But what they want to do is have their cake and eat it too. They want rules to apply only to their political opponents because they're just bad people. And these book banning fascists aren't just bad people because they're in favor of censorship, in particular of marginalized voices. They're bad people because this whole war on woke and porn in schools is all intended to distract you from the terrible things that these Republicans are doing. For example, at the behest of construction companies and big agro, DeSantis just signed a bill into law that preempts local ordinances passed to protect outdoor workers from extreme heat. So in Miami-Dade County, for example, they were considering a regulation that would require companies to give workers mandatory water breaks and time in the shade during heat waves, and DeSantis just signed a law nullifying that, which will inevitably result in heat strokes and ultimately deaths of some workers who work outdoors. And make no mistake about it, DeSantis is responsible for every single one of those workers affected by this law, but he thinks that people aren't going to realize that he's their enemy if he can make other people the enemy. If he can make you believe that LGBTQ plus people or woke teachers are the real enemy, then he wins. It's just a distraction tactic, and anyone who falls for it is a rube who's supporting this fascist at their own peril. But, I mean, that's kind of the way that they play politics, right? They do terrible things behind the scenes, and they prop up a common enemy for everyone else to hate, so that way you don't think, oh, maybe it's them.
Right, exactly. This is like the classic fascism playbook, right? That's got to be people who are being paid to complain. Yeah, who knows? I didn't read too much into the article, but it says 11 people. I wonder, I wonder who those 11 people are.
Was actually the problem. But in conclusion, as dangerous as these fascists may be, fortunately, they're pretty fucking stupid. I mean, we saw how easily activists around the country have been able to weaponize their own book bans against them. So, I mean, let this be a lesson to fascists and supporters of fascists. Be careful what you wish for, because it may come back to bite you in the ass one day.
True. Okay, like the one article that I found doesn't really give me names. 11 people are responsible for filing 60% of the book bans or book challenges. Well, in any case. I think the random people with time on their hands and ebooks, they control F. True. Yes. I bet.
It's late.
To have that much time to sit around and literally just scroll through ebooks trying to get them banned. Too much time on their hands.
It's late 2023, the Phoenix area. Investigators with the State Attorney General's office are looking at apartment rents. They're up 76% since 2016.
Shoosh. 76% since 2016. Mind you, that's not that long ago, okay? That is literally not that long ago. 2016 is roughly, 8 years ago? 8 years ago? That's not a long time. That was one presidential cycle ago, okay? That was one president ago, I should say. Yeah, they definitely don't read any of it. Hey, Bond, welcome.
Something is off. These 4 building rents are 12% higher than others, but they offer similar amenities. They have different landlords, so you'd think they should be competing with one another. But they weren't. The prices were allegedly being set by one entity, an algorithm owned by a company called RealPage. In fact, this was happening everywhere in the area.
That's old-fashioned price fixing using new technology.
We allege, in effect, a housing cartel.
Over 2,000.
That's just wild. That this is even allowed to be a thing. I'm moving this year and it's gonna suck. Can't afford to live where I'm at. Yeah, that's how we ended up here. That's how we ended up here. I mean, like the same, by the way, this is not that long ago. The same apartment that we were living in back in Florida was about I want to say it was a two bedroom, one bathroom apartment. It was about $1,700 a month, which is, first of all, already absurd as it is, but that was a while ago. It was about 1700 something, right? 1750, I believe. That same apartment, okay, same apartment, there's nothing, literally nothing has changed, is over $2,000. Is over $2,000 a month. I believe the last time I checked before I stopped doom scrolling on freaking Zillow is 2,200 or something like that. Whew. Let me see if I can remember where it's even at. Yeah, it's way more. Way more. I moved to where it's cheaper too. Yeah, I mean, it's just... You just don't really have much of a choice. I mean, they're charging me $1,500 for a small studio? Wow. I'm probably going to pay that much for a 3-bedroom house. Yeah, right? Like, that even sounds like a little bit more reasonable considering today's freaking prices, these days. But man, I'm gonna be honest. If it was just by myself, if it was just me, even 1,500 is already. I'm basically just paying for the roof over my head and food. Maybe. No, I think that's about it. I would literally be down to the last penny. Right, exactly. Living hand to mouth. That's right. Firefly, welcome. Oh yeah, like not right now, and you're effed if you have an emergency. Yeah, there's no savings. There's nothing. If I was by myself, the only way that would work is if I had 2 jobs. The only way this works now is because there's two adults working full-time jobs. That's the only way this works. Then predatory loans come in. Yep. Man, I really forgot where. Yep, one minor problem with your car and that's it. Yep, you're out of a car. I'm trying to remember where I used to live. If I can kind of like see a map. I mean, like, they're literally trying to rent out an apartment in Fort Lauderdale for 2-bed, 2-bath for $2,400. $2,400. Get out of here. I remember last December work was slow, and that was all it takes is one paycheck. Yep. That's right. That's right. It's also stressful just to exist. Yep.
1,000 miles away, something similar is happening. It's alleged that all of these different units, their prices were set by one single algorithm, which sounds bad. And it could be happening in cities and states across the country. Renters have filed over 30 different lawsuits against RealPage. We're going to talk about what all this means.
Yeah, and like the fact that this exists, it's so freaking absurd. So absurd that they're literally like allowing this to happen.
How algorithms, these black boxes of data, are shaping our markets and giving an incredible amount of power to the few. And how the Department of Justice and some state attorney generals are fighting back. Because this is a story about how a few lines of code broke the American housing market. What is RealPage?
So RealPage is a company that operates.
Like, by the way, this is an inevitable conclusion for anything. For anything that you literally just cannot live without, and you decide, and we, as a society, have decided that it's going to be okay to commodify it. Like, there's going to be inevitable market failures. Period.
software that allows landlords to input their data into an algorithm, and then RealPage sets the prices for all of those landlords. This is actually against the law.
Attorney General Mays isn't the only one alleging this.
Our allegations are that RealPage, in combination with 14 of the largest landlords here in the District of Columbia, are effectively colluding with one another to set rents.
Across America, rent is up 20% since 2020. The Attorney Generals of Arizona and DC are suing RealPage and a host of big landlords, alleging that an algorithmic housing cartel is helping drive up prices.
In the pre-RealPage days, landlords would compete with one another.
They played a guessing game with rent prices. Push it too high and people move, leaving landlords hunting for new tenants. It was a delicate balance, a market. And I'm not sure if it was fair, but it wasn't rigged. An algorithm helped change all of that.
We're talking.
Yeah, that's inevitable. That's inevitable when you talk about things that you need, like food and shelter and healthcare. Mesa's been doing good work in Arizona. I found out that my apartment complex uses this company. Yeesh.
Talking about an algorithm that aggregates otherwise confidential information that the landlords have that ordinarily they would not share with their competitors.
Data like rent prices, lease expiry dates, any deals they offer to tenants.
That allows then the algorithm to spit out a pricing recommendation, all designed to keep the overall market at its highest peak.
They are not charging what the market can bear. They are controlling the market. It's leading to the exacerbation of our affordability crisis, our housing crisis here in Arizona.
If you could imagine a smoke-filled room where the landlords, the largest landlords in the District of Columbia, came together to decide what they were going to charge in rent, to share their confidential information, everybody would be able to see that that's an anti-competitive practice.
Until recently, using shared pricing algorithms like
I'm pretty sure, like, airline companies do this type of crap too. I don't know if it's considered illegal or not, but all these large companies absolutely do that. These companies don't like competition; they like profit. Okay. We see university tuition go up exponentially too. Yep.
Like this flew under the radar. If your algorithm set prices, you just say, it's not cheating, it's a suggestion. Not anymore. Lena Khan and the FTC have said, just a suggestion? That's price fixing, no excuses. And RealPage, according to the lawsuits, they weren't even pretending the prices were suggestions.
RealPage has a system set up where the landlords who have adopted the system agree to a set of rules.
One of the rules is that RealPage gets to set rent prices. If landlords want to charge less than the digital oracle suggests, they have to justify their decision.
The justification needs to be reviewed by RealPage. RealPage can push back against the justification.
And if you push back too much, RealPage can kick the landlord out of the scheme, with one insider telling investigators, sometimes we were happy to see customers go.
They also had a policing agent that would go out and make sure that the landlords and their leasing agents were staying in line and not deviating from the price that was being set.
This scheme, if true, has had a real tangible impact on Americans.
RealPage advertises that it's going to increase revenues 2% to 7% for the...
And there it is. That's the goal. People of the same trade seldom meet together, even for merriment and diversion, but the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public or in some contrivance to raise prices. Adam Smith. Ha! Man, I love how, like, people who are super pro-capitalism, fail to understand how capitalism actually works and what the actual goal is. Because you'll often hear like, oh, competition is good, and capitalism by nature wants more competition because then it'll be the best outcome for the consumer, and that's not how that works at all.
Participants in the cartel.
What RealPage is telling these landlords and is doing with these landlords is, don't worry about occupancy rates anymore. It doesn't matter really how many people move out of your...
Like even the Yeah, even the founding father of what we would consider like the modern iteration of capitalism, Adam Smith, understands how this works.
You're building, you're still going to grow your revenue over.
And also on that tangent, since we're talking about landlords, I'm pretty sure Adam Smith was not too keen on landlords either, because he also understood the problems with that.
over time.
How? Through these coordinated price increases.
In Phoenix alone, we've seen rent increase 76% since 2016. It is almost certain that people were evicted as a result of these price increases, and that some people were made homeless by them.
To their prospective customers, the landlords, RealPage is pretty open about all of this. You can go to their website, type in a zip code, and view a sample of what buildings are using the software, along with any corresponding price changes. We'll see, this building right here, rent is actually down about 4%. If we just zoom out a little bit, a few blocks over, this rent is actually up 4%. They used to have videos where landlords talked about how RealPage's algorithm pushed them to raise rent, but the company deleted it after the Washington Post ran a story. On investor calls.
Uh-oh. Smith was just trying to explain the economy around him, not invent it. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's incorrect on my part.
They're flat out saying the algorithm is going to recommend higher lease rates for every property. But the company goes to great lengths to train landlords to hide this scheme from renters. Landlords were coached across a variety of scenarios and told not to mention RealPage or pricing algorithms to tenants. Instead, they were supposed to say stuff like units were being priced individually. RealPage and the larger industry dispute the charges. Since the onslaught of lawsuits, RealPage has largely stayed quiet, ignoring our request for an interview. But the industry has published a paper defending itself. They make a bunch of different arguments, but it boils down to two major points. The first, sharing info doesn't mean they're teaming up. Why? Because the rental world is just too big and too messy for any sort of secret deal to stick. But that doesn't seem to stand up to scrutiny.
The RealPage algorithm is being used by nearly 90% of the apartment owners in the DMV.
RealPage controls 70% of the rental units in Phoenix, and that they control at least 50% of the market in Tucson.
90%
That's wild.
in DC, 70% in Phoenix. That hardly seems like a fragmented rental market. And their second point, more houses, not less data sharing, is the real fix for high rents.
That's bunk. You know, we've got apartment units all over Phoenix that aren't being rented right now because people can't afford them. The spaces are there, but people can't afford them because these landlords are setting artificially high rent via an algorithm, and that is just unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Things are shifting. Renters are banding together in class action lawsuits. Arizona, DC, and possibly North Carolina are suing. They want to end the scheme, refund renters, and fine companies like RealPage. The DOJ has started a criminal investigation into the whole thing.
Man, I hope so. I hope that whole thing comes down. I suppose in a just world, none of this would exist, yeah?
I don't think this is just an Arizona-based problem. This is not the only place where algorithms are being used to set prices.
This is, to me, one of the bigger kind of issues facing kind of our economy and consumers in the next decade or so.
There's a lot of positive things that algorithms and machine learning can do for society, but there are also risks associated with it. We can't be afraid of technology. We have to lean in and learn about it and make sure that we're keeping the public safe from the abuses that can sometimes flow from misuse of technology.
Agreed. I hope they get sued out of existence, and the people who own the people who own this website or this algorithm should go to jail. Shifting gears really quick, failed presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy has a interesting take on what happens after you die. Apparently, when you die, you're going to be met by George Washington as he hands you a musket and is holding a bald eagle, and he's going to ask you what you did, what your sacrifice was. Sounds absurd? Yeah, I thought so. Why don't we actually just listen to what he had?
It's going to be every one of you, every one of us, doing our part as well for this country. And when we face our founding fathers in the afterlife.
Yeah. Is he handing me a loaded musket? Yes. George Washington is going to be at the pearly gates with loaded musket in one hand and a bald eagle in the other, asking what you did. Okay, what you did in the what you sacrificed for this country. Let me rewind that.
It's going to be every one of you, every one of us, doing our part as well for this country. And when we face our founding fathers in the afterlife, and they ask us, what sacrifice did you make for your country? We better have a damn good answer for them.
That's right. Okay, that's right. As you reach the pearly gates, okay? as you reach the pearly gates, you better have your response ready, okay? For the founding fathers when they ask what sacrifice you made, okay? For your country. Sorry, I'll be too busy thinking, oh, I'm dead. Oh, man.
And we will. This is a 1776 moment in our country.
1776, brother.
It's going to be...
Yeah. Riling up these people with the implication, like, you know, the whole revolution and take up arms against a tyrannical government. Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying pick up arms and be prepared to lay down your lives. That's literally what the implication is, right? Because he ends that segment by saying this is a 1776 moment, implying that you know, you have to be ready to rise up in armed rebellion and be you know, understand that you may die, and if you do, you know, just make sure that when you get up there, you told George Washington what you did for your country or something. Yeah, I'd say I got exploited. Also, heaven is real. Yeah, that'd probably be my my first reaction too. Cognizant, welcome. Our sacrifice is putting up with all these ignorant hogs for our entire lives. So we got a few updates on this Arizona case. I'll start with this one.
What's the difference between a service animal and an emotional support pet? Well, a service animal has to go through long and expensive training so it can work and carry out tasks for people with disabilities.
So last week, the Attorney General in the state of Arizona announced criminal charges against 18 people, 11 of them fake electors from the state with regard to the 2020 election. The other 7 were, of course, close friends and allies of Donald Trump, some of whom have already been arrested in the past and are awaiting their criminal trials. People like Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Mike Roman, Jenna Ellis, who, of course, worked out a
You know, the usual suspects. In this case, quite literally the usual suspects that have been that are facing trial.
plea deal
In other
with
states like Georgia.
prosecutors in Georgia.
Yep.
But there was one other person indicted in Arizona who is new to all this. Somebody that has not been indicted with Donald Trump in the past. Even though Trump was not indicted in Georgia, he was listed as an unindicted co-conspirator. And that person happens to be Christina Bobb. Now, Christina Bobb has been working as a lawyer for Donald Trump.
Wait, I think he meant not Georgia, because Georgia he is facing... Wait, is he? Wait a minute. Yeah, Trump is facing trial in Georgia, right? I think he meant Arizona. I think he meant this.
Or at least had been for quite some time. She is, of course, the individual who signed the sworn affidavit to the Department of Justice saying, "We've given you everything we have at Mar-a-Lago," which was a lie. You had not given them all of the documents Trump was hiding at Mar-a-Lago. So shocking, by the way, that you were not criminally charged for that. You signed a sworn affidavit that was a lie. So that's criminal, but somehow you were not charged for that. But most recently, Christina Bobb got a new job. Shortly before she was charged with election crimes, Christina Bobb was put in charge of the RNC's new Election Integrity Unit. She is going to serve as the lead senior counsel for the RNC's Election Integrity Unit that is being set up by new chair and co-chair Michael Whatley and Laura Trump. They picked this loyal Trump lawyer, a woman who, whether she knew it or not, has lied for Trump in the past to federal authorities and said, "This is the person we want to run our election integrity unit at the Republican Party." And now that individual in charge of election integrity has been charged with election crimes.
Yeah, I mean, like... Is there anything else to add, right? Like, how many times have we gone over this? Every accusation is just a confession. It is always projection with these people.
Let that sink in for a moment. You picked this person to make sure that there's no criminal activity in elections, and then she immediately gets hit with criminal charges for election charges.
Right. Well, what they mean, no funny business in elections. What they mean is our guy has to win the election. You might say they gave Bob the job to rob votes. Whew. What is that called? Does that have a name? Like, does that have a grammar name? It's not alliteration. Alliteration is using the same letter, right? Alliteration is like all actions are affecting. Yeah. So I don't know what name. Yeah, at the beginning of the word. Okay. So it's not. Yeah, I don't know if there is a name for constantly rhyming. Constantly rhyming. Yeah, my surprised face. Hold on, we've got one. Wait, you're subbed. You have a surprised Pikachu face. Hold on. you got one of these. Just cheap rhymes. Yeah, it's called rap.
Like fraud. What is it here? Fraud, conspiracy, forgery. Yeah. We totally trust you, RNC and Christina Bob, to tell us which elections are safe and which are not. You seem to be the experts on that, right? This, like so many other things that have happened recently, the only thing I can use to describe this is just utter insanity. The Republican Party thinks you are stupid. They genuinely believe that they're the only smart people on the planet, and everybody else...
I don't know, I sort of disagree. I think that, I think that the Republican Party is just so divorced from reality. Like, they are living on a completely different, they're living on a completely different reality. Okay, they're on a different plane. They're on a different universe. Yeah, exactly. Yes. They're on a completely different plane of existence altogether. Like, to say that they're galaxies away is not even enough. They're literally just on a completely different plane of existence altogether. Their cult members just kind of accept it because there's no critical thinking. There's no logic necessary. That's the only reason this is even continuing. Unmoored from our reality. Yes, exactly. That's why, like, they're able to just do the most absurd things and say the most absurd, obviously false things, because, like, they don't have to. Reality is not a factor here. That's why it's impossible to argue with them, or reason with them, right? Because there's nothing to reason with there. Like, nothing at all. Like, what are you gonna tell? A person arguing that something that just literally didn't happen was happening? Like, you're being effectively gaslit, right? How do you argue with a person that's telling you that the earth is flat? Like, you're not arguing. There's nothing to argue there. You're just in a different plane of existence. Yeah, they're on Earth 999. I've tried and I realized my mental health was at grave stake if I kept trying to. I completely understand that. Like, at this point in time, like in the year 2024, I mean, if you're out here talking about, like, the 2020 election being stolen, if you're out here talking about, things that are literally just not happening, only because you're caught in, like, the outrage machine that's just telling you that a certain group of people are responsible and that's who you need to be angry at. I mean, like, I'm sorry. The RNC ran out of people to hire who think their base is ignorant and started hiring the loudest, closest to Trump from their ignorant base, right? Because they don't... I mean, like, it's not just like I don't know. Maybe it's true that they ran out of people, but it's that those people aren't necessary. You have to be in good graces with the Trump base. That's why I get frustrated with undecided voters this late in the game. Like, I get if you don't know whether you'll vote at all, that's different. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that the people who think the base is ignorant don't want to be indicted. Yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, like, you need the base in order to maintain power. So they've kind of cornered themselves.
Is so dumb that they're outside eating dirt and licking rocks. That's what they think of you. Decisions like this, to put somebody like Christina Bobb in charge of election integrity when they knew that she was already under investigation, it shows you how little they think of you, how dumb they think you.
No, they just don't care. They just don't care. They genuinely believe that the election was stolen. And they are remedying this in their heads by stealing the election. Yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked there. Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people like that. That's why they hired the loud ones, just to keep them herded.
You are. And that is the message that I always like to drive home for anybody on the right. They think you're dumb. They have no respect for you. They don't give a damn about you.
That's true. That's 100% true.
You think they care about you? What has this Congress controlled by Republicans done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. And we know that because they've had Republican Congress people come out and admit that they have done nothing for you. So you continue to vote Republican and you get nothing out of it. You get...
No, see, Farron, you don't understand. You don't understand. They're getting their bigotry fix. That's what this is. That's kind of the thing you see in movies where brainwashing is often portrayed as more exaggerated, but to see it with real people in real life is bizarre. Yeah, like, oh my goodness. So, I know somebody, and they are all kinds of lost in the sauce. Like this person believes. And I've known this person for a long time, and the switch in these last couple of years has been pretty dramatic. Like, this is the type of person who, like, literally is a cult member. There's no other way of describing it. Like, it is bizarre. It is bizarre. The Republican leadership thinks that about everyone under them. That's true. Yeah, it is bizarre to see the cognitive disconnect, or not disconnect, dissonance. The cognitive dissonance, the disconnect from reality. Because it seems like the kind of thing that wouldn't actually happen for real, right? Like. And what's weird is when you talk to them, I mean, obviously you can only do so much. The more you talk to them, the more you wonder if whether or not you're the person who's lost it. It's really, really weird. It almost makes you feel like you're the one who's lost it.
Treated like a moron. They undermine you. They're not keeping any of their promises to you. So what the hell are you even doing? They're just openly mocking you at this point by putting alleged criminals in charge of making sure no crimes are committed. That is how little they think of you. That is how dumb they think you are. So if you keep supporting them at this point, I guess you're proving them right.
It's been like that for years, Farron. It's been like that for years. They don't want to be. This isn't about actually, like, this isn't about them being rational. You can't rationalize with these people. Jesus, Trump, and country. Jesus, Trump. Exactly. Right. Right. In any case, they're not alleged. The first time they fudge something to fit in with orders, they become actual criminals. Yeah. Yeah. But for media's sake, I suppose. I don't disagree with you, but I suppose for media's sake, they kind of, unless they're convicted, they say alleged, right? Can be sued if they don't say it. Yep. On that note, Arizona state senator was another one to be indicted in the fake elector scheme, is tapped for RNC position. Yeah. So, this Arizona State Senator Jake Hoffman, one of the so-called fake electors charged in the Arizona 2020 election subversion case, announced Saturday that he'd been elected as a Republican National Committee man for the state. Cool. I'm humbled and honored to have you have been elected as the next RNC National Committee man for Arizona. He posted on Twitter. His selection comes just days after a grand jury in Arizona handed an indictment against former President Trump's allies, including Hoffman, over their efforts to overturn the 2020 election. His 2020 election loss. CNN previously reported that Hoffman sent a 2-page letter to former Vice President Mike Pence on January 5th of 2021, asking him to order that Arizona's electors not be decided by the popular vote of citizens, but instead by the members of the state legislature, which is not legal. I don't think Mike Pence can do that. But anyways, it's in this late hour with urgency that I respectfully ask that you delay the certification of the election results for Arizona during the joint session of Congress on January 6th of 2021 and seek clarification from the Arizona State Legislature as to which slate of electors are proper and accurate, which of course the play is for them to have their slate of electors be counted. You want to get up and walk around a bit for your back? Yeah, I mean, I've only got 2 more articles, but yeah, it's probably a good idea. That's probably a good idea. Let me hobble around for a little bit. Give me like 2 seconds, folks. I'll be right back. Getting up. Blast those emotes. Whew, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, chat. Oh, man. I really busted myself up with that one. I have no idea what the bad movement was that I did. But, whew, man. Ah. Love that Pop-Tart. It's probably going to take a while to heal. Yeah, it seems like it. This is already day, 2? Maybe, yeah, day 2, right? Today's only Monday. Welcome to being old. Yeah, I'm aging myself, right? I'm aging myself here, complaining about back problems. No, wait. This is day 2 because it happened Saturday, then Sunday, and now Monday. Oh no, we're approaching day 3. Soon all you'll be talking about is your health issues and pudding consistency. Ah, yes. This is fine. Whew, okay. So the next clown to be indicted is now, because of course, is going to be now part of the RNC committee. In this late hour with urgency, I respectfully ask that you delay the certification of the results of Arizona during the joint session of Congress on January 6th and seek clarification from the Arizona State Legislature as to which slate of electors are proper and accurate. In interviews, Hoffman had repeatedly argued that no electors be sent at all because we don't have certainty in the outcome of our election and to contest Democrat electors if they were sent. Following news of his indictment last week, Hoffman wrote in a statement, "Let me be unequivocal. I'm innocent of any crime. I will vigorously defend myself, and I will look forward to the day when I'm vindicated of this disgusting political prosecution by the judicial process." Nice meme. CNN has reached out to the Arizona GOP and RNC for comment, and Boris Epshteyn, a former White House aide who remains Trump's closest advisor, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and Rudy Giuliani are also among those who have been indicted, according to a source familiar with the investigation. While Trump is not among those charged in Arizona, the details in the indictment suggest that he is unindicted conspirator number 1. Yeah, this story's kind of messed up. His new nickname. Unindicted co-conspirator. I need to write this down. 1 second. There we go. Save that. All right, so the next one, I'm sure like by now most people have already seen the this story, but this one's a pretty graphic story, I would say. Just by the nature of it. Not like we're going to be talking like why don't we just get into it? Just know that it's pretty dark. And I suppose only fitting for the potential vice president pick for Donald Trump. Trump VP contender Kristi Noem responds to backlash over the story about killing her dog, which she wrote about. Kristi Noem, a contender for Donald Trump's vice presidential running mate, defended herself after her story, saying that she had killed a dog on her farm, drew condemnation from Democrats and animal rights groups. In her forthcoming memoir, the South Dakota governor describes killing an untrainable family dog after a hunting trip because, that's just what normal people do. Completely normal and hinged people. Reported The Guardian, which said it obtained a copy of the book, No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics and How We Move America Forward. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. Noam said Cricket, a 14-month-old, just barely a year old, wire-haired pointer, was a female with an aggressive personality, according to The Guardian. So just to be clear, 99% of aggressive dog behavior is human error. That's you. You didn't properly bond and trained with your dog. But anyway, during a pheasant hunting trip, the dog, quote, went out of her mind with excitement and later attacked another family's chicken. So again, naturally, the normal and hinged response is to, shoot her. And then she went to grab Cricket and the dog bit her. Quote, I hated that dog, she wrote in the excerpt. The dog was dangerous to anyone who came in contact with and less than worthless as a hunting dog. So naturally, again, the obvious choice here is to shoot it instead of, getting it proper training, rehoming it, possibly looking around to see if anybody else would keep her as a pet, not as a hunting dog. But, of course, that would be too normal. But life is precious. Just kill this dog then. Exactly. Quote, I realized I had to put her down, she wrote. The newspaper did not say when Noam said that the incident occurred. According to The Guardian, Noam said that she included the grisly story to demonstrate her readiness in politics to do what needs to... Jesus Christ. Whew. Yeah, this is very, very normal. Very normal. So the reason why she included this is to demonstrate that she is willing to do what needs to be done. Even if it's difficult, messy, and ugly. Or, unhinged as heck. Oh, man. Animal welfare organizations decried Noam for killing the dog. Wayne Pastel, the president of Animal Wellness Action, said that there's no rational or plausible excuse for Noam shooting a juvenile dog for normal puppy-like behavior. Exactly. Raising and caring for a dog takes patience and kindness. Yes, exactly. Which clearly not something she's capable of. Yeah. Tens of millions of Americans who know and love dogs have to wonder about a person who expresses hatred for a young female dog and kills her. Colleen O'Brien, Senior Vice President of the People of Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, denounced the governor for letting this rambunctious puppy loose on chickens and then punishing her by deciding to personally blow her brains out instead of attempting to train her, find her a more responsible guardian. Right, a normal human being. Jesus Christ. Gendrix Benter, welcome. Democrats also slammed Noam while holding it up as an example of how extreme and dangerous Trump and his allies are. The statement shared with the Hill Democratic National Committee said if you want elected officials who don't brag about brutally killing their pets as part of their self-promotional book tour, then listen to our owners and vote Democrat. On Friday, Noam defended her decision to put down the dog. Quote, we love animals. Let me stop you right there. No. But tough decisions like this happen all the time on a farm. I'm going to press X to doubt. I'm going to press X to doubt on that. on a post she wrote on Twitter. Sadly, we just had to put down 3 horses a few weeks ago that had been in our family for 25 years. Yeah, I don't buy them. I don't buy it. Sorry. That's true. Absolute psycho. Purportedly one of the VP contenders for the Republican Party, by the way. Trump and DeSantis meet to bury the hatchet. Yep. Florida Governor DeSantis, Meatball Ron, met privately with former President Trump on Miami on Sunday morning. Multiple sources tell ABC News, marking the latest development in the pair's rocky relationship following his contentious GOP primary in which Trump won over DeSantis. DeSantis requested the meeting with Trump through a mutual contract, hoping to, quote, bury the hatchet, according to the source familiar with the interaction. The real estate investor Steve Witkoff arranged a meeting. A second source said DeSantis had breakfast with Trump while he was playing golf. DeSantis' office declined to comment, and Trump's campaign did not respond to a request. The 2024 Republican nomination contest saw Trump, the GOP standard bearer, and DeSantis, a rising conservative star, go after one another directly. But DeSantis quickly endorsed Trump once he left the race after a distant second-place finish in the Iowa caucuses. Quote, well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of COVID. Advisor Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Brandon. That is clear, DeSantis said, to which Trump later responded, I appreciate that and also look forward to working with Ron. Yeah, kiss the ring. That's how it always ends, right? All of these people, no matter what this guy does, no matter how much he makes fun of them, no matter, what he says about their spouses, like Ted Cruz, at the end of the day, all of these people will line up and kiss the ring. So long as Trump controls the base, he controls the Republican Party. It's that simple. There is no decoupling of the Republican Party from Trump. All right, folks. As you may have seen, and I would highly recommend to check out the Discord if you want to see like on the ground footage of what's been going on. One of the latest developments on these protests, not just in Columbia University, this is just like one of them, but these protests have been expanded. They're not going anywhere, and the latest threat that the university has attempted to issue was that they're going to suspend students for being for protesting because they want their learning institution to divest from Israel. Students defied the Columbia University order to vacate their pro-Palestinian protest by 2 p.m. on Monday, despite warnings of suspension after the school's president said he would not divest from Israel, a demand that has sparked protests on college campuses across the country. Quote, "We have begun suspending students," said Bang Chang, the vice president for communications and spokesman for the university, said around 5 p.m., about 3 hours after the deadline passed. So this just happened. Makes me so proud and also so frustrated. Yep. The university has told student demonstrators to vacate by 2 p.m. or else be suspended pending further investigation and barred from completing the spring semester. The encampment, which is now in its second week, participants voted nearly unanimous to stay put. Around 2:45 to 2 p.m. Warning time to leave, protesters marched on the quad and chanted, "Disclose, divest, and we will disclose, divest. We will not slow. We will not rest." A part of the encampment has been cleared to make space for upcoming commencement ceremony for graduates, and picketers are largely sticking to the perimeters of the encampment. David Lederer, a 22-year-old sophomore at Columbia, walked up to the picket line and began waving an Israeli flag. I'm here to show we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere." President Minosh Shafik asked the protesters in her statement to voluntarily disperse, and the demonstration has created an unwelcoming environment for many of our Jewish students and faculty, and that external actors have contributed to a hostile environment around university gates and have become a noisy distraction for students. Yeah, I don't know about this one. And the fact that it's been a noisy distraction, I think that's kind of the point, right? The point is to be heard. Shafik also cited May 15th commencement, saying, "We do not want to deprive thousands of students and their families and friends of a graduation celebration." Well, you know what? Then, I don't know, man. I think the students are pretty clear as to what the demands are. Columbia was the first institution struck by protests in support of the Palestinian cause, which is to not be genocided. Just so we're all clear, the Palestinian cause of not being ethnically cleansed, with students demanding that the school divest from investments to support weapons manufacturing in Israel amid the backdrop of the Israel-Hamas genocide, which more than 34,000 people have been killed by Israel. Like not just killed, they've been bombed and they've been bombed and killed by Israel in the Gaza Strip. Protests spread quickly on campuses from coast to coast, resulting in mass arrests and crackdowns. While the university will not divest from Israel, it offered to create an expedited timeline for review of new proposals from students by the school's advisory committee for socially responsible investing, which explores divestment. The university has also offered to publish a process for students to access a list of Columbia's direct investment holdings and to increase the frequency of updates that list of holdings. Though the talks at Columbia were at a stalemate, there did appear to be a small movement in negotiation. Shafik said the university has offered to make investments in health and education in Gaza, including supporting early childhood development and support for displaced scholars. "We urge those in the encampment to voluntarily disperse. We're consulting with the broader group in the community to explore alternative internal options to end this crisis as soon as possible." Crisis. "We will continue to update the community with new developments." Absolutely absurd. Stop starving and bombing you. Spoiled much? Yeah, exactly. Like, man, it's unreal that people are just asking for their purported college to not provide financial backing that is directly contributing to the death of tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. And apparently that's a big problem, and now we need to bring in snipers on the roof. We need to bring in riot police. Yeah, we need to assault professors. Yeah. Very normal and very hinged country we got going on. All right, folks. It is time. I need to go lay down. I need to grab a quick bite and go lay down. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Heath. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. Thank you all for mixing it up. Thank you, Abond. Read about Kent State. Yes, exactly. Firefly, thank you so much. Gendrick, thank you for stopping by. Abond, I appreciate it. Elron, thank you for stopping by. Cognizant, the Simulacra, thank you so much for mixing it up in the chat. I appreciate it. Let's see, who else did I miss? Dari Bennett, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I think I got everybody. Folks, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Like, comment, do the awesome stuff on the YouTubes. Follow the channel here on the Twitch. Feel free to check out the merch store with exclamation mark merch. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. There's plenty of awesome people there. And, there's events that happen, notably the once a month movie night, and sometimes if we get the opportunity, we might do more impromptu movie events that can happen. So just join the Discord. It's free, and you also get to keep up with the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Yeah, that's right. It's growing. Keep it up, folks. Heating pad. That's a good idea, actually. I'll see if I can conjure up one. Hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.